Shout out to all the people living on $30 or $40 or $50,000 a year. I've been there. So how is it possible that someone making $200,000 or $300,000 a year can still feel like things are tight, like they're barely getting by? Well, it's simple. Our lives and our spending nearly always inflate to meet our incomes. Marketers and businesses and everyone out there is willing to offer us more and more expensive things, more and more stuff, so we can all still have the wonderful opportunity to spend all our money and live poor. That's what stops us from becoming financially successful. Working in the financial industry, I got to see an interesting thing. There's a type of person out there, if you give them a $6,000 credit card, they will spend up to $6,000 and then no more. They'll carry a balance because paying it down requires extra discipline, but they'll be disciplined at that point that they max out that card. Now, if only they could stop at one card, but the industry is ready to hand them more and more cards from banks, from Amazon, and then load on even more debt from every buy now, pay later trap online. Well, the rest of us aren't so different. Maybe we see the dangers of 20% credit cards and avoid them or diligently pay the balance every month. That's great. But that's not wealth building. We're just avoiding destroying our money. Not setting our money on fire with insane interest rates is a good thing, but we need to go higher to figure out how to accelerate our savings and investments. This is where the savings rate comes in. It sounds so simple: save more, build to ruin your life, and don't spend every last penny. But it's not how most of us live our lives. And we see it even with that $200,000 or $300,000 income. Everything rises a little bit and gets a little more expensive. Slightly newer cars, fancier jewelry, and fancier watches, more upscale restaurants. And it just keeps going. Make $1 million a year, there are newer and sportier cars, even fancier jewelry and watches, and even more upscale restaurants. Funny thing at this level of restaurants is that they stop cooking the meat. You get more raw fish, raw oysters, and raw beef tartare. Weird stuff. I never understood that. Anyways, if it's the same thing, a never-ending treadmill at every income level, maybe we can just stop running so fast, whichever level we're on. This is assuming that our basic needs and safety are being met, because fortunately, that's not a given in our world. I'd like to take a moment to thank the supporter of this video, Indoor Plumbing. Not everything is a given, but I've been fortunate enough to have Indoor Plumbing keep me going, providing clean water and a quick escape for all my number ones and number twos. In my mind, Indoor Plumbing is a clear number one. If you haven't yet tried a relaxing getaway on the porcelain throne, let me be the first to tell you to give it a whirl today. And now back to the video. If we can up our savings, this actually creates a very interesting dynamic, and you'll want to hear this. The more you save, the less you actually need to save overall. Why is that? Let's say you save 10% of your income. On $50,000, this is $5,000. So now you've created a life that costs just $45,000 and you save $5,000 every year. So that $5,000 contributed over the years will eventually just need to cover a $45,000 lifestyle, because that's the point of retirement savings and financial independence. While working, save up the funds over time to eventually replace your paycheck. Well, what if you saved $10,000 now? Well, now that means your savings grows at a faster rate, twice as fast as $5,000, and now it only needs to support a lifestyle of $40,000, because that's the remainder you've been living off of. So your savings rate has a double compounding effect. First, you're able to save much faster, and in doing so, you also create a lifestyle that fits a lower income. Because in the example, with saving $10,000, you're also living off of just $40,000. Again, this is just used to illustrate the point. Maybe you can't live on that little, maybe your household earns a lot more. There's lots of factors. But the point still stands. The more you can save, the faster savings will grow, and the less you need to save. If you've ever wondered how people can retire dramatically earlier than others, this is what's at play. And the trick here, as I mentioned in previous videos, is to automate things, and you can make it feel like you're making less. Have a part of every paycheck automatically go into your long-term savings. So then, what is left in your account is what you see. It's the income you feel like you're making, and your lifestyle will by default grow to take up all of that. But that's not a problem, because you've already accounted for your savings by having those deposits made automatically, and this is the idea of pay yourself first. Set money aside right away for your long-term goals, and then you don't really need to worry about your self-discipline. See money in your bank account? Great! Go ahead and spend on whatever you want. Early on in life, if you were to boost that savings rate so that all along it feels like you're making a lower income, what's going to happen? You get used to a lower spending level, and you get that double compounding effect that we mentioned. Plus, early on in life, you get a long runway for it to do its magic. The earlier you get started, the more time can work on your side to compound your investments, your savings and investments both grow faster, and you won't actually have to save for as long because your ultimate savings goal can be lower. Unfortunately, we've all been plopped right into the middle of this consumer society of the 21st century. The messaging is clear. Buy more and you will be happier. So it's a good thing to remind ourselves that money isn't everything and money doesn't necessarily buy the good life. You could buy a really nice Honda Civic or you could buy a really nice Lamborghini. I'm not saying these things are equivalent, but studies will show that satisfaction in the long term will be very similar between these two. Fancy cars, fancy watches, it's not the stuff that matters. Instead, it's safety, it's having gratitude, it's strong connections with people that bring meaning and happiness and fulfillment. And that's great news because not everyone can get rich, but we can all build great connections, we can all practice gratitude. And I can confidently say you cannot be successful, especially financially, until you get this, because the treadmill of buying more never stops. You'll never buy your way into having just enough. Was this video helpful or not? Give me a thumbs up or down to let me know. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great one.